PlayStation fans, this one is for you. Magic the Gathering has teamed up with Sony to release a bunch of Secret Lairs that are out of this world. This is the Secret Lair X PlayStation Super Drop. We will be getting cards from your favourite PlayStation games like God of War, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, and a lot more. So today I'll be breaking down each of these Secret Lairs, going through the cards in them, giving my thoughts and opinions, and giving them an overall score on them all, to see if these Secret Lairs are good for you to buy or to collect, or not at all. I will be going through this drop by drop, explaining all the cards, showing them off in their amazing artwork, giving my thoughts and opinions on each drop, rating them, and then rating this whole Secret Lair, giving my thoughts and opinions on the entire thing. When it comes to this, it's not really the monetary value of it, it is more kind of for the price of them. Are the cards going to be playable? Is the art worth it? Is it worth it as a collectible piece? It's more, is the thing itself worth buying? And I'll be mainly thinking of this as a commander player. There is also a promo card when it comes to the Secret Lair, but I will mention that at the end. So if you stick around at the end, we'll find out what it is and is it worth getting. But before I go any further, a quick little shout out. If you want to help support me in the channel, check out my WeeCJ merch store. I've got t-shirts and hoodies that keep the lights on while I keep making this MTG content. There will be a link down below, so if you want to grab something nice, tag me in your social medias, I would love to see it. Because of all the help I've been getting recently, I have been able to buy a mic, so hopefully the audio is a lot better, and I'll be making a short video. Hopefully, it may be worse for a week or two, trying to get used to this and how it works, but I was able to get a brand new mic, so hopefully the audio is better. So let's start with the first drop, The Last of Us Part 1. The contents of The Last of Us Part 1 are Ellie Brickmaster, Joel Resolved Survivor, Cabal Ritual as Cordyceps Extinction, Haunted One, Cordyceps Infected Token. When it comes to this, it is 40 to 50, you can only get them in foil and rainbow foil. When it comes to the games itself, I've never played them, I've never been really big fan of those type of games, but I've seen a lot of fan base and a lot of people loving the games. So sorry if I get anything wrong when it comes to the concept of the game. This set brings two iconic characters, being Ellie and Joel, which even someone that hasn't played the games know them two are the main characters. When it comes to the cards themselves, I find the cards very, very good. I do like them as an overall thing. My problem is, and it's a little spoiler here, a lot of these Secret Lairs have 5 cards. This also have 5 cards, but one's a token. This is a problem when it comes to me, when it comes to Magic and Hasbro's kind of choice. Mainly because they're picking 5 cards for people to enjoy. But in this one, and the next one for spoilers, you get a token, which even when you get a pack, it's in the back and no one ever counts it. So to be honest, I think they should be technically 6 cards with this. You should get 5 cards dedicated to the game, and because they make a token, you get a token with it. To me, it just seems to be, for a premium product, a kind of cheap thing to do. When it comes to Ellie being a commander, I really do like this card. A 2-mana commander with partner is really cool, and she kind of pretty much just says don't attack me and you get benefits, which is a cool little thing, especially if you add gold where there is a lot of red gold cards. When it comes to giving opponents tokens because they're attacking other opponents, again, that just seems to be a game thing. I know it's kind of like a zombie-esque type game, so it could be that zombies are planning on surrounding you and then late game you get eaten. Could be a thing. Again, haven't played the games, but I do like the concept of a reason not to attack me, especially for 2 mana. And then you have Joel. That works really well with Ellie. I do like the partner cards, and I do think this is a really good partner team. You play her on turn 2 and him on turn 5, which is a good thing. I really don't like commanders that have partner that have the same mana cost. You can tell he is the protector of her from just the cards itself. Pretty much what it's doing is she's spotting out where there's zombies, he's killing the zombies and getting more and more experience, which are these +1/+1 counters. Plus, any commander that has a draw ability is quite good in my opinion. I think these two together are a really cool partner team and make a 3-colored deck which we are able to benefit with all these other cards. I really do like Secret Lairs that kind of have, here's the commander, here's a few cards that work well, and then we want to see what you build for the rest of your deck. But now we need to find out, are the rest of the cards good with these two as a commander? When it comes with Cordyceps Extinction, I think the card selection makes sense. Like, you're getting a bunch of mana. I don't know what the art of the card means. I've never played the games. To be honest, in my opinion, there is way better cards. Neither the commander or sub-commander make sure you mill stuff. However, you do draw, so technically you can self-mill from putting cards in your hand. However, I do find that there is way better mana stuff like Black Market and Black Market Connections. However, that might not have made sense when it comes to the card selection. So let me know in the comments down below what this card represents or means. Haunted One is one of those really weird and strange cards. I love backgrounds. I think they should bring back backgrounds. Backgrounds are a very powerful kind of cool card that I really do enjoy, and there's ways to get them and stuff like that. I do think backgrounds are amazing, just people don't use them as much because it's probably not as good as I think they are. But this one kind of makes sense. You kind of tap your Joel to try and protect Ellie, give her a little bit more power and stuff like that, or find a way to do it the other way around. When it comes to the artwork, I would ask the people online, whoever watches this video, to explain who is this man and why is he has the ability of undying, or what this card represents. And then finally we have this token. To be honest, I'm gonna do a little spoiler. You get this token in the other undying one as well. I do think this is the better art, but again, I do find it very cheap that you get a token card where others get 5 cards. Now there is one exception, but I'll mention that when I get onto that section of the video. As a commander focused channel, I do think this is overall a really cool Secret Lair. I really do love the commander and sub-commander and the background. The token and the other cards that gives you mana, again, are acceptable. I think if you like The Last of Us, I do think this is a really good collector's piece. I think the artwork represents the game very well, and I do think the character selection is good, and I could see this in a binder or on someone's mantelpiece. So that's good there. The card selection overall is not the best. I find some of it to be really weak and some of it to be really strong. I do think if you want to build this, buy it. If you want to build a deck dedicated to giving people tokens, killing off the tokens, and then getting more and more powerful, adding loads of gold and stuff, or target destruction and stuff, or board wipes that only target tokens, I think this is an amazing thing for you to buy. And if you are really dedicated, get it in rainbow foil. But with the token card, to be honest, I think the hard push is the commander and sub-commander. I will have to give this probably an overall a 6.6. But if you're buying this for the art or you're buying this for the commander or sub-commander, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this and your grading down in the comments below. But when it comes to this, we didn't get 1, we got 2. So next I'll be going over The Last of Us Part 2. In this Secret Lair you get Abby Merciless Soldier, Ellie Vengeful Hunter, Dictate of Erebos as Ellie's Rage, Myclothus as Cordyceps Rat King, Cordyceps Infected Token. When it comes to this, you can get it for 40 or 50 depending if you want it on non-foil or rainbow foil. Sorry, in the last one I said foil and rainbow foil. So yeah, that's my bad. This is the second drop when it comes to The Last of Us parts. I think this is probably in the future of the game. It seems to be Joel has died or passed away or does not become one of the main characters. We now have Ellie and Abby. So Abby would probably be the replacement of Joel, and Ellie seems to be angry about Joel's death or something like that, or news. Again, haven't played the games. So it's really cool when they do Secret Lairs that you get part 1 and part 2 with characters and different points of views. It's like, I would be kind of disappointed if they done, we'll say, a Crash one and focused on the first 3 games, and you just get 3 different versions of Crash Bandicoot. These seem to be heavy hitters when it comes to the universe of the game, because when it comes to surviving, there's usually a lot of vengeance and conflict, and it seems these cards are going to be reflecting that. When it comes to Abby, you're paying 3 mana for a 4/4, which is quite good. She's got no keywords, which is kind of meh, but has partner, so probably with Ellie can do lots of cool things together. This is a weird commander that I've never seen this type of stuff done before. Pretty much when you pay for her, you get a bunch of tokens that are the 1/1s, but one of your opponents gets this as a commander. So I say a lot of single target spells to keep killing your commander and paying more and more. To be honest, I think this is a good card on its own to pretty much help you get a huge army. You'll have to add a bunch of ramp, but with it being in red green is very, very easy. I think this is a very solid solo commander, but it has partner, so let's see how it goes well with Ellie Vengeful Hunter. For 3 mana you get a 2/1, which is again not the best. Both having partner is somewhat good, I do kind of like it, but both being 3 mana makes it that you have to pick and choose. However, there is one really cool thing I do like. It is partnered with a survivor, so you could probably buy The Last of Us Part 1 and switch and swap to your heart's content. This has also a very weird ability. You pay 2 life, sacrifice a creature to only do 2 damage to an opponent, but gives her indestructible. I do think this is a weird thing, but it's probably based on the game, so please explain in the comments down below why this is the way it is. I personally think rather Abby and Joel or Abby and the original Ellie would be really cool partners. I'm not the biggest fan of this. However, if there is cool combos, again, let me know. And then in my opinion, the best card in this Secret Lair is Ellie's Rage. This is an amazing card, and I always love when they get amazing cards in Secret Lairs. This is such a powerful card. However, it's usually the 5 mana that makes it a kick up the arse, but again, it really does work. I have decks where I've put this card in and it has just been game enders. I pretty much have self-sacrifice decks where I just play this card and just make it a large army of tokens and then sacrifice my tokens so no one has anything. I also have a bunch of creatures that when they die they make tokens, so then I just sacrifice my own creatures, and then because I'm playing black, reoccurred them all the time. So again, this is such a powerful card, especially in this Secret Lair. And then we have the Rat King, which is a 5 mana card that is a 4/4 and has one of the most broken keywords in Magic the Gathering that can be absolutely used to just instantly win the game. This thing can get you a large amount of tokens. However, the biggest problem with it is none of these cards give you 1/1 counters. You'll have to add them all in yourself. I would think this would be cool with Joel, so kind of it incentives you to buy both. But you get the artifact that lets you move tokens around, so you just power up Joel, sacrifice Joel, and then put all the 1/1 counters on this and have different ways to put 1/1 counters on this. I do think since you're getting a token anyway, that you should just make these fungus zombie things, but it is based on a actual Magic card, so it's really good that they don't change the text for it. However, I do think they should have somewhat changed it or made a card similar to it, focusing on, so keeping it as Rat King but getting rid of the magic aspect of it and just having a brand new ability that works well with the commander and sub-commander of this Secret Lair. And then you get, in my opinion, the uglier version of the token. My biggest probably pet peeve of this is that a lot of these cards pretty much, they don't tell you that you have to, but they heavily hint that buying both is going to be better than buying one. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but it is really good marketing. Pretty much if you are a Last of Us fan, buying both is going to be the thing you need, especially as a collector. If you want to build any form of deck, but one commander's in one and one commander's in the other, you then technically have to buy both. So you're looking to spend 80 quid to 100 quid, depending on what you want to do. As a collector's piece, I think it is worth it. Building a deck, not really worth it in my opinion, especially if you want kind of one partner from one and one partner from the other. I think these are really worth it as a individual piece, but combined I think the 2 tokens and the cards that are meh make it not worth it at all. Personally, if you wanted to build this as a deck, I would highly recommend buying the commander and partner commander you want and Ellie's Rage, and then just building the deck on from there, especially if you know you're not going to build it and put in some of the cards that only work with, let's say, the cards that are green, because you're just using both Ellies. But I think Ellie's Rage is a huge push towards this. The commanders are not as great as the first one, but I think overall I'm going to give this one a 6.8. But if you were to build any of the decks from this, what 2 partners would you use? But now going on from one game to another, the next is God of War, Greek. Now when it comes to this, I have played all of the God of War games in the Greek era, including that annoying mobile one. I loved those games, I 100%ed them, and then when they changed it, I just never got around to playing it. So I have quite a lot of knowledge and quite a lot of information when it comes to the God of War cards, and I'm excited for the Greek one. Now when it comes to the Norse mythology one with the 2 games I believe is out, I have not touched them. I am planning on to at some point. When it comes to the God of War Greek one, you get Kratos God of War, World at War as Battle of Olympus, Rite of Flame as the Blades of Chaos Bond, Sulphur Vortex as Hades' Grip, Pyrohemia as Kratos' Rage. And with the other 2, it is 40 for non-holo and 50 for rainbow foil. Without even looking at these cards, when I seen they are going to make a God of War Greek one, my brain just went red, possibly black. This is where he is at his very angry teenage years, even though he's not a teenager, where he's angry, and to be honest is rightfully so angry. He's literally wearing his entire family or tribe all over his skin to kill the God of War and then become the new one. This is going to be built with pure rage and as much damage as he possibly can. I can see a lot of Theros, I think it is the kind of one based on this as well, themed cards that are getting reprinted for this. This is definitely going to lead into damage, haste, and aggression, and I can't wait to go through this one by one. So first you get the God of War himself. For 3 mana you get a 2/3 that the annoying side is it's 3 red pips, which is doable, but you really do have to focus on a pure red deck. Having any form of generic mana in that deck is going to slow it down. You need mountain, and more mountains. Having double strike makes sense with the 2 blades, and giving himself and all creatures haste means anger is going to be not really the best card when it comes to this anymore. And as Kratos fashion, he does damage because you didn't do damage. Pretty much at everyone's end step, if they did not attack with creatures, you count them creatures and they deal damage, forcing them to, not forcing them, but giving them high motive to attack each turn. Now, to be honest, if there was a lot of red spells, I'll be tapping down things, but tapping down creatures is more of a blue thing. So again, you're doing damage on your turn and you're doing damage on their turns. I really do think that is a great commander. It's very kill me fast or I'm killing you fast. I think this would actually be better in 1v1 type things. I think commander as a 4-player base, you're going to... It's like a high flame. It is going to do a lot of damage fast, but it's going to burn out very quickly. And then we have a 5 mana sorcery, Battle of Olympus, or the original card being World at War. Pretty much this means you need a large army because you're going to be attacking, then untapping, then attacking again. To be honest, I think this is going to be a really good goblin commander, having an army of goblins. Now my only kind of downside with this already is it seems to be having a big massive army, where from what I remember Kratos done it pretty much all on his own. I think they should have done kind of more single target stuff. that worked more well. I think he should have actually been black-red in my opinion, and that whenever he attacks, pretty much give him death touch, because pretty much nearly everything he touched dies, and having weird abilities. So I do still like this, but I think they've gone a little bit weird. Like, Kratos had a huge army behind him, he had the Spartans, but now he doesn't anymore. And then we have another sorcery, which is Blades of Chaos Bound, or Rite of Flame. This is a 1 red sorcery, where you get to add 2 red mana, and then add 1 red mana for each card that has this card's name. Now, this does make sense. This is more pretty much he's on Adrenaline 24/7, which is your mana. You're paying 1 mana to get 2, which is that benefit. However, you get 1, I believe you get 1 card, where in most formats you could get 4. So I'm never a big fan when it comes to Secret Lairs doing this, especially because there's other cards they could have picked. And from what I'm gathering, they haven't done any damage doublers or triplers, which would have gone so well. City on Fire is literally the start of 2, I believe, after you get off the boat. You're literally standing there while a city is on fire. City on Fire with Kratos looking out would have been an amazing card. So having 1 card that goes, you need as many of these as possible, especially in Commander, those cards suck because it's a single card format. I don't think this was a good choice. And then you have an enchantment called Hades Grip, or Sulfur Vortex. It is a 3 mana enchantment that at everyone's upkeep it deals 2 damage to them, which again, Kratos does use weapons, but he does kind of use the area around him to do damage, but this does seem to be a weird thing. However, doing 2 damage to each opponent each turn for free is kind of cool. And then this also stops life gain. Personally, I don't think he ever stopped he stopped people living, but he didn't ever really stop people gaining life. I do think this, again, the card selection kind of is not the best in my opinion. There's a lot of old cards being reprinted. However, I can think of so many cards from the top of my head that Secret Lair have already made that would make really cool cards. Like, you could have the sword of blank and blank would have been really cool, especially because he gets like a huge sword later on. Man, with the card selection, I wouldn't be a big fan of it, but I would be like, he gets Swiftfoot boots pretty much, so I would have accepted that because he legit gets that item. Again, they've done it a few times. Shock, again, they keep reprinting Shock. He literally gets an ability where he can electrocute everyone around him. There's so many cards they could have picked. They could have easily made a pure red one that works better on its own. They could have made an Is It one because he does use magic. They could have made it that he is red-black because he does a lot of killing. They could have made it that he's enchantment heavy focus because you can switch out the different weapons. I'm pretty sure you get like a hammer, you get a sword, you get your main 2 blades, you get to power up all the different weapons, where they could have easily focused on an enchantment heavy commander. And then you get, finally for the last card, Kratos' Rage. And hopefully I'm saying this right, Pyrohemia. It is a 4 mana enchantment that if there is nothing on the battlefield, it sacrifices itself for some reason. And then for 1 red mana, you get to do 1 damage to all creatures and pretty much all opponents. Again, such a weird card to kind of put in this. I think overall the card selections, Kratos seems somewhat cool and playable. I'm not the biggest fan over any of these. Even the last one got Dictate of Erebos, which is pretty much their version of Hades. They could have got any of those cards. They could have picked any interaction with any of the gods. City on Fire would actually be such a funny one. They could have picked him fighting a Leviathan and stuff like that. Like, there is so many better options where they just seem to pick a bunch of old cards. Especially where kind of the more angry he gets, the more damage he does. Picking no damage doublers or triplers just seems very strange to me. This did go the path I thought with straight aggro, thinking like, I didn't really think large tokens and then sacrificing them, getting a little bit of mana. I do like Kratos himself, but it seems to be like the weirdest and strangest version of him. I do like that he gives all things haste, I do like that he gives double strike, and I do like that he does damage for creatures not attacking. But it just seems there could be so many better options, especially with the other cards. The only good side is there's a lot of old cards that are not getting reprinted anymore, but they're all super cheap, so reprinting them doesn't seem to be worth it. So even as a collector thing, you're not going, cool, this cool, not really expensive card is getting the alternate version, great. You're getting cards that are worth absolutely nothing, reprints. I think the whole like Secret Lair is worth like 15, and that depends on how Kratos is going to jump up. Now, usually I'm not like a monetarily kind of channel, but it does peeve me off when you're paying 40 to 50 quid for €15 worth of cards, where none of them are really playable in my opinion. There's one card that if you want to build a commander deck around, you pretty much are paying 1 mana for 2, and that's it. It is going to be a card every time you draw, you're just going to roll your eyes. The enchantments are not the best. There's so many sorceries they could have picked from that are a lot better, and there's even cards that they constantly make in Secret Lair, like the boots, like lightning bolt and stuff like that, and they didn't pick it for this, which is strange. To be honest, I'm going to give, and this is a heavy plus on Kratos, a 4.2. If you are a old fan, God of War fan, I do picture collectors getting this mainly because the artwork's cool. I think the thing that could have made this better is one of those really long art pieces that were broken up to have the cards in. That would have been a great kind of better thing with it. My biggest downfall for this was just Kratos was mid-tier and the card selection is not good. So that was the biggest drop. Art, breathtaking. But now we have him all grown up and as a father, talking about the God of War Norse. When it comes to this, you get Atreus' impulsive son, Kratos' stoic father, Teferi's angel's insight as Mirmir's ancient wisdom, Iros, god of victory, as Freya, queen of the Valkyries. And then when it comes to this, it is the classic non-foil for 40 and rainbow foil for 50. These are games I've wanted to pick up for a very long time. The only thing that's been stopping me is every time I see it, it is 60 quid, and I'm not spending 60 quid. The second thing that stopped me is I seen someone's, not gameplay of it, but they were talking about like the rarest items in games, achievements and stuff. And it just seemed to, they kind of added in this Borderlands-esque item finder thing that I'm not a big fan of. It seems the way games were changing in that time, just item clothing and stuff like that was the big thing, and I went, that's not a God of War game to me. But the story and stuff seems cool, so again, I'm going to try and get my hands on it. From what I've gathered from the information I do know, Kratos is now not the impulsive one, it is now his son, which again, I'm not sure if it is one of those legit things. I haven't played the games, you might find later on it's not. This, already before I've even gone through the cards individually, my pet peeve is a lot of these are 5 cards. This one it is 4, but one is double-sided. So technically they can get away with, you're getting 5 cards. You're getting 4. Double-sided ones should not count, same with tokens. Again, personally, I understand where they come from as a marketing thing, going, oh, if we give them a token, like, blah, 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 blah. I would rather spend the 50 quid getting 4 cards and a shitty card than spending 50 quid on 4 cards and a token. Even though that card is shitty, it may give me that push to go, do you know what, I'm going to get it. The token just kind of more comes off as an insult to me. Same with this one, with the double-sided one, where all the other ones we've gone through have gotten 5 cards. This one you're getting 4, but the double-sided one just seems a bit screw you type of thing. One thing I do like, and I did like it with the Last of Us ones, is that it seems this is going to be a partner commander. So again, I'll be more focused on this as a commander product, pretty much going, is the commander and sub-commander with the other cards going to work well? And I know Valkyrie, I've never played the games, but I know that Valkyrie, or the Queen of the Valkyries, is one of the hardest bosses in games for the last little while. So hopefully they do a balance well with the commander and sub-commander being father and son, and the other two cards basing it very well off the two sub-partner commanders. So let's start off with Kratos Stoic Father. 4 mana for red and white, showing that he's now a good boy, with no keywords is a little strange. But straight off the bat, I don't think this needs keywords. If you attack with a god, or a god dies, you get an experience counter, and experience counters are one of the most powerful cards types in Magic the Gathering. It does so much depending on what you have, but the experience counter things are so rare and far few in between. And then at the beginning of your end step, you get to put a 1/1 counter on for each experience counter you have. So even if one god dies and you bring it back, you get to put a 1/1 counter on anything you want each turn. Now this will be great with a lot of proliferate, a lot of reincarnation cards, and self-targeting or sacrificing cards. Pretty much what you want to do is rather build a, to be honest, right off the bat, I think actually building a Wooburg God deck seems to be the best choice. Playing every single god you can possibly think of, getting a bunch of experience counters, putting on 1/1 counters, and then replaying gods from the graveyard, because every time a god dies, or you proliferate, or get 1/1 counters, you're able to literally put them back on, especially if you have the monolith. This card gives great potential for an amazing Wooburg God Commander deck. And on its own, it's quite powerful, however, it can only really power up itself, depending on the other cards. But it, as a commander, can only really power up itself, and it is very slow, and it doesn't really have a recursion for itself. So again, you're pretty much paying 2 mana to put a 1/1 counter on it at the end of each end step. Again, it doesn't seem worth it until you're paying 20 mana and this thing's getting 10 1/1 counters on each of your end steps. But now let's see if his son does any better. Atrios Impulsive Son. For 3 mana, you get a 2/4. Again, the Sun does not seem to be the strong attacking type, seems to be the long range defensive type. So again, it does make sense that it is a 2/4 because the accuracy on archery is not really the best, but again, could probably take a hit. Them themselves is already a god, so again works really well with his father. So him himself is also a god. I don't know how he becomes a god, but it's really good working with his father. But already the thoughts of constantly killing your own son to get stronger, to reincarnate your son to get stronger, just seems to be such a weird, bizarre thing to me, but seems quite funny. Having reach as a small child doesn't really make sense. And then a really weird and unique 3-cost ability and tapping. You pretty much get to draw a card for each experience counter, and then you just have to discard a card to borderline do 2 damage to each of your opponents. I do think this is cool because it focuses on the experience counters. However, I think they go in 2 separate directions. Having this as a commander and sub-commander, you're either going to try and focus on lots of draw, doing 2 damage to things, or you're going to focus on powering up and getting a bunch of 1/1 counters. I think this should have been that it does damage equal to its power or its experience counters, because that would have made more sense to me. Late game, when you're just doing 2 damage to everyone, you're not even really considering it. Your plan is just to refill your hand. And then we have Mimir's Ancient Wisdom, which is Teferi's Ancient Insight or Teferi's Ancient Insight. I do think this is an amazing draw card. I think it goes well in a lot of draw decks. I have a few Izzet decks that require a lot of draw, and I do try and put this in every chance I get. It being double-sided is weird, especially because there is double-sided cards. Like, you can have there's the 4 cards, I think, that's a scientist, but when it flips into an insect. You could have it that it is his head and then the body, or there's other cards, Thing in the Ice, where it is his body being the ice cube and then his head being the thing. Is quite a funny thing they could have done. Again, my biggest problem with this is that they're counting it, or what I'm seeing they're thinking they're doing is they're considering this as 2 cards, because this is the only one that has 4. And then finally, Freya, Queen of the Valkyrie, or Iris, God of Victory. I do think having a god in a Secret Lair based on the commander and sub-commander needing experience counters for how many gods dying and coming back alive is a really cool idea. I don't know anything about the God of the Valkyries or the Queen of the Valkyries, so I don't really know why Iris, God of Victory was chosen. There's probably a reason story-wise, so if you know what that is, let me know in the comments down below. Gods, in my opinion, are one of my favourite creature types. I love the fact that they are enchantments that can become creatures later on, depending on how many pips you have for it. Giving all your creatures menace is not the best keyword to give. Vigilance would have been a lot better, or haste, but giving all your creatures any keyword just for no reason is quite good. The main reason you play this is to prevent all damage, but for a deck you want your gods to die is really strange to prevent all damage from it. So this is clearly, to me, a story-based driven, this is why we picked her to be this actual magic card. The drop itself as a whole seems to be heavily replying, in my opinion, again from Kratos. The sun is fine, the sun is quite good. The other cards, in my opinion, are okay to meh. The card selection, I do like Tevri's Insight, but it being a double-sided card for some reason just is strange. And the god being picked for a god is, again, strange. Not as bad as the God of War, the original one I'll call it, but still strange card choices. I think the artwork in all of them is cool. I think the biggest push is Kratos itself, with mid-tiers being the Sun and Tevri's Insight, and the God being still good tier, but just slightly under the other cards. I think the partner kind of drifts off too far. There's no kind of working together, which might be the part of the game where they don't see eye to eye all the time. Again, haven't played it, so if that is true, let me know in the comments down below. But to be honest, my overall thoughts and opinions on this is I'm going to give it probably a 6.2. It has really cool cards. I personally got excited for it to just build a Wooburg commander deck based on gods, which again would be really funny. Adding in a bunch of tutors to get Kratos, then sacrificing Kratos, a bunch of graveyard recursion, self-sacrificing. There's that white card that whenever I get rid of like a creature or enchantment or artifact, they have to get rid of the same type. Putting that in, just killing a bunch of creature gods, so then they have no creatures, and just kind of snowballing that idea. If you're actually interested in that, let me know in the comments down below. Going from the Norse legends to a place we've never been before, it is now Uncharted. When it comes to these cards, you get Nathan Drake Treasure Hunter, Midnight Clock as Kingsbay Clock Tower, Whip of Erebos as El Dorado Sarcophagus, Chain Reaction, Passionate Archaeologist. With this and all the others, it is 40 for the non-foil and 50 for the rainbow foil. When it comes to my knowledge of this game or these games, it is solely and 100% based on the film. And the film was bad in my opinion. Now, nothing to do with the actors or stuff like that. It was just, in my opinion, a very bad film with Spider-Man and the guy from Ted. So when it comes to my knowledge of the game, it's not good at all. To me, it just seems to be male Lara Croft. Hopefully this Secret Lair is really cool and they find some hidden treasures. So let's start this off with Nathan Drake himself. A 3 mana commander that is a 3/2 with First Strike. I really do like that this is a 3 color commander that has 3 different color pips. I don't know why they picked these 3, so if there is a reason, let me know in the comments down below. For a 2/3 with First Strike, which to me just seems to be he hits first before anyone else. The first ability does sound very strange to me, that you're able to use your mana to tap abilities and stuff like that of stuff that you don't own but control. So this just seems to be a lot of like, I'm going to give you a bunch of treasury artifacts, but I'm going to still be able to activate them. But the main thing that intrigues me when it comes to this is his second ability, that whenever he attacks you exile the top card of your library, and you're able to pretty much have a second hand that slowly grows. Now I really do hope that there is cards that benefit having second stuff or cards being drawn from exile. But let's go on to King's Bay Clock Tower, or Midnight Clock. I don't know why this clock tower was picked, but I really do like this card. I think it is a very powerful artifact, where it's kind of, you don't think about it until the benefits come. If there is a bunch of proliferate, I think it's really way better than if you have a deck that has a blue pip in it and you have a lot of proliferate. Putting this in is 100% worth it. I do love this card. Having Whips of Erebos here, again, Whips of Erebos is such a good and great card, but having it in the God of War, like original Kratos one, seems to be more sense to me, especially since there are literal chains wrapped around his arms. This giving all your creatures lifelink seems to be good, especially with the first strike you get from the commander. Paying 5 mana to bring something back from your grave, maybe this is part of the game that you have to fight a zombie or something that is in this tomb or sarcophagus, but I do think that this card actually would have benefited more in God of War than it does in this, but I do like this as a card. And then Chain Reaction. It is a 4 mana sorcery that deals X damage to each creature for the number of creatures on the battlefield, which again makes more sense in God of War than Chain Reaction here. To be honest, what I've gathered from this is what people make fun of is the yellow paint, where it's you fall out to grab onto this and they fall and they continue falling. To be honest, I think maybe any like Fling card would have, I actually think Fling with this art would have been made more sense, with both of them being flung out of the car or plane or whatever they're on. I do think this is such a weird card to pick for this Secret Lair. And then Passionate Archaeologist, which is an enchantment background for 2 mana. This is an amazing card for this. If he is your commander, I recommend putting this card in 100% of the time. This is just absolutely perfect for what you need for your commander. I will ask if anyone knows who this person is though, let me know in the comments down below, because I have no clue. When it comes to this as a whole, I do think the commander and the background are both amazing cards, same with Whip of Erebos, but it doesn't really play well with the commander. It does make sense if you're playing stuff, but you're exiling a bunch of cards, so unless you're bringing stuff back to try and exile it yourself, why would you do that? The damage spell that deals damage and gets rid of creatures is fine, but it seems to be the hard focus of this is exiling a bunch of your things and playing stuff from exile. So I not had focus on that even more, especially because the first bit where you get to spend mana of any color to activate stuff, none of these cards work well with that ability. It's such a strange, like Whips of Erebos at least gives him lifelink, so it works well somewhat with the first strike, but I do find like Whips of Erebos would have worked better if Kratos had black and red, because he had double strike. Double strike and lifelink makes more sense to me. I do think the card selection overall is, you've got 3 really good cards, 2 strange mech cards. I do love Midnight Clock and think it is such a powerful card, but in here doesn't really make sense. It just seems to be the only clock that they could have thought of that works well with the clock from the game. I do think if you are an Uncharted fan, again, you're probably going to appreciate this mainly because of the game references and the characters and stuff. I do think though that this could have been better and actually worth the 40 to 50 quid. I don't think it is worth it. However, I do think it is doing better than majority of these. I actually think I'm going to give this overall a 7.2, but that's just me. Mainly because, in my opinion, I think this just has one bad card where the rest had two and then kind of less better cards. But now with that out of the way, let's swing into the wilds with Horizon Into the Forbidden West. When it comes to this, it is the Horizon game. Again, a franchise I have never touched before. I've been interested in when it comes to the story with the giant robot dinosaurs and stuff, but not a franchise I've actually ever played. There seems to be a lot of that going on. I remember having a PS1, PS2, PS3, and then kind of just stopped and went on to PC gaming from there. But in this, you get Aloy, Survivor of Meridian, Farseek, Brightsteel Colossus as Fazbro 7 Horus, Terrence Soulcleaver as Regaliant's Wrath, Media Golem as Thunderjaw. As always, it's 40 for non-foil, 50 for rainbow foil. When it comes to this, you're heading to the future and the past all in one. It seems to be we have technologies taken over and now has living animal robots, which seems really, really cool. It kind of gives me kind of like Breath of the Wild. I know this came out before that, but esque type of game vibes. I've always been interested in buying this, but I've just prioritized other games over and over again. So I do think that this potentially is going to be possibly the best Secret Lair out of all of them. This is a game that's always interested me. I've always found it to look beautiful, but I haven't seen the gameplay of stuff. So if you think this is worth actually grabbing a hold of and playing, let me know in the comments down below. But let's start off with the main character. For 5 mana, which is usually the max I say you put in a commander unless the commander's broken, you get a 3/5 with not 1 but 2 keywords. She has Vigilance, which is really cool, and Reach. So that means she can attack and both block at the same time and has great blocking potential. And then the second ability, especially for a Simic deck, seems to be absolutely broken in my opinion, especially because of the cards I know are going to be in it. Pretty much you're going to be getting a lot of cards for free. But before I go over them amazing artifacts, you get Farseek, which is a really cool and bizarre tutor. However, I haven't played the game, so this probably is like 3 different areas. There's probably like a frost and a biome, a desert biome, grass biome. So having like Farseek, which lets you pick one of the 3 lands, is really cool. Sorry, one of 4 lands. However, realistically, if you want to build a commander deck around her, this is 2 mana, get an island. Which I think Farseek is mainly for the aspect of the game because she is looking out and far seeking. But I do think having something that gets a land or having a filter, the Simic filter land would have been better in my opinion. Something that can get you a forest or an island, not just one. Then we get this big scary creature, that's Blightsteel Colossus. Again, such an amazing card. This was really, really cool for the Transformer one, and a lot of people wanted to get it just solely for the Transformer Colossus S card. This works so well with your commander because pretty much every time you attack with this, you get to play a card that is 11 mana or less for free. Again, such a good card in my opinion, and really good working well with the commander. Then what I've seen from trailer and gameplays and stuff, that she carries a bow, and you actually get her bow as a card. Spending 3 mana to give your commander Vigilance, even though she already has Vigilance, is a little strange to me. However, this is clearly that if someone destroys one of your artifact creatures, you are putting a 1/1 counter on your commander. To be honest, I think putting in the actual Green God's bow would have been potentially better than this card, but I can see why they chose this card, mainly because to power up your commander or power up one of your artifact creatures to then be able to play more powerful artifact creatures, or to play more powerful, or to play more creatures. Such a weird ability. And then you have a Meteor Golem. Now, I will say this. There is a green artifact creature card that lets you play lands from your graveyard, which is a giant behemoth. There is probably also so many artifact creatures that have green or blue pips because of the Brother War that they could have picked from. Meteor Golem being a T-Rex is such a strange thing to me. I'm pretty sure at some stage they've potentially had some form of robot dinosaur too, and if they haven't, they need to make a set with robot dinosaurs. Overall, I think this one is my favorite. I love the Commander. I love pretty much every card in it. Is rather, I really understand why, or I think is a good choice. I definitely love Meteor Golem, pretty much the two artifact creatures, and the Commander goes so well in my personal opinion. So overall, I'm going to give this one a 8.8. But then we're going on to the final one of the video, which is Ghost of Tsushima. Again, never played, and hopefully I'm saying the name right. I apologize if I'm getting things wrong. When it comes to the contents of this, you get, and sorry if I butcher these names in advance, Jin Sakai Ghost of Tsushima, Path of Exile, Born Upon a Wind, Ghost Flicker, Iganjo Castle as Castle Shimura. Again, with all of these, it is 40 for non-foil, 50 for rainbow foil. This is a game I've never seen or heard of. I legit thought it was that Souls one the first time I seen it, that has like the blocking ability with samurais. Again, completely different franchise. So if there's anything you wanted me to know about it, or if I should try this game out, let me know why in the comments down below. This one to me just looks really pretty, and I do have a few little pet peeves, but I will go through that when it comes to each individual aspect of it. So let's start off with the Commander. For one white, blue and a black, you get a 3-color Commander that is a 2/4 with no keywords. Again, please explain why these 3 colors would represent this guy as a Commander. But let's see what his abilities do and see if they're worth it. So I really like the concept of this card already. Pretty much if you are attacking, you get a draw card, which is great for a Commander. If a Commander has a draw ability, I find that to be purely amazing. But the weird thing about it is that you have to attack just solely with one creature, which again, I do like. It does give that, it gives more of a ninja-esque than a samurai-esque thing to me. So that's just strange to me. But I do like that it gives a choice of double strike or that it cannot be blocked. So you can do a lot of ninjutsu with this and do a lot of damage, or if you have a bunch of lifelink, again, would be really cool. And then we have Path of Exile. Path of Exile and Swords of Plowshare is in every single one, every single like Secret Lair, every single deck. I don't mind it in decks, it still kind of annoys me if it has a white pip, it's an automatic input, but I understand why it's such a powerful card and well known to be used, but a premium product like this, I think it is a pure waste. And then we have a 2-mana instant, which seems to be a weird flash draw card. I don't really know why, because the Commander doesn't really need anything with flash, so I don't know why flash here and has draw itself, so having this card to draw a card also seems strange to me. This seems to be a story-esque theme. So again, let me know in the comments down below what part of the story this is. Then we have Ghostly Flicker, which just seems to be picked because, again, ninjas and samurais and stuff. These seem to be more focused on the game solely, but not magic. There's not an even balance, a fair balance in my opinion. And then finally, a really cool land. I don't like lands in Secret Lairs unless it's in a land like this, or a really cool land like a shock land or a filter land or something like that. I'm kind of going through this more faster, mainly because my battery's dying, so I gotta kind of go through this faster, so apologize. But I really do think this is quite a cool land to pick. Again, this seems to be a story-esque thing, so let me know why this card was picked. When it comes to this, I know nothing about the game at all. This is probably the game I know the least about. I think the card selection is meh. I'm probably putting the score lower because of Path of Exile. I think the Commando would be cool, but I think they should have added some ninjutsu or some actual samurai cards. Like there is legit samurais in Magic the Gathering and ninjas and have the same abilities as the Commander, but none of them were picked. So to be honest, I'm going to give this a 5.2. But if you like these Secret Lairs and you want to spend 200 quid, you can get your hands on a exclusive promo cards, as long as they last, of an amazing and beautiful Sol Ring. These promo cards were a good idea, however, make it worth it. Make it worth the people spending 200 quid on your product. A Sol Ring is not worth it, especially because you can get way better Sol Rings in way different art. This is from Twisted Metal, I believe. Again, it is a cool card, it is beautiful. I do think they could have done it that it could have been random in a bonus card of any of the Secret Lairs, but it being a 200 quid card is not worth it at all, especially because they could have done, and to be honest, if they were going to stick a Sol Ring, the Sony logo as a Sol Ring would have probably been a better aspect, or they could have done a really powerful robot being Astro Boy. I should work in their department. But overall, I do think they are getting somewhat better. They're still a bit money hungry and grabby. However, I'm going to give the whole thing a 7.1. The card selections are all over the place, but you do go. But the cards that are original are usually very good. The reprints that are good, actually, in my opinion, belong better in others. And you do get a fair balance of amazing cards, mech cards, and cards in between. But as always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. If you bought this or want to buy any of this, let me know in the comments down below. If you want me to build any of these, make a video or deck tech, again, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, I have my previous Is It Worth It here, a playlist of Is It Worth It Magic the Gathering stuff here, and a subscribe button here, and I shall see you all in the next video.